Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. This is KNHD here, and welcome to playthrough number 9 of Eden. When there was only 2 on the well, I guess in this case right now, there's 3. In the last playthrough of Eden, which has been quite a bit of time ago, so I do apologize for the delay, but in the last playthrough of Eden, we have been introduced to a new character. A nice young character named, I believe her name was Maya, or Maya, one or the other, and she's a very spunky young little girl. Well, I wouldn't say little girl, but spunky girl. And low-key is like a lot. I was really not expecting a new character in this late into the game, so it has me believing that we're really not that close to the ending that I actually believed that we were. Because thinking back on the opening and, you know, thinking about the time I probably spent in this game, like we're on playthrough number 9, okay? So with us being on actual playthrough number 9, it has me to believe that, like, we're close to the end. I don't think this is a very long game, so I want to say that I'm close to the end. But the fact that we were introduced to Maya has me thinking otherwise, that there's still quite a bit of content that's left to do, and a lot that's just left unsaid. So I want to say that maybe in the next 2 or 3 playthroughs we might be done with Eden, but I'm not entirely sure. Personally, the sooner I'm done, the better. So, but we'll just have to see where it goes. But in the last playthrough, we met Maya, new character, has a lot of energy, a lot of spunk. She's a reporter who looks up to Shion, and she really wants to get close and to get to know Shion. Ryou didn't really take quite lightly to her appearance though, because I mean, in the end of the day, this is his cabin, his territory, and he did not, and I mean did not, like the fact that another person had managed to infiltrate his little group. Eden? Is it Eden? Do I pronounce that Eden or Eden? I don't know. I've been calling it both ways, not gonna lie. But yeah, with Maya infiltrating his little group, his little humble abode, it has him believing that his security and his traps were not that great. And because of that, he's been pretty much treating Maya like a piece of shit this entire time. So, right now, from what I recall, Maya was like locked in a storage room, and he probably just released her. Something along those lines. So, let's continue and see where we are. The lax breeze rocked the green fields back and forth. Shion's clothes caught the wind and flapped as she slowly walked. It had been a few days since she'd made it as far as this hill. There was an amazing view from the top, but the slight slope was formidable to Shion, who had virtually no physical strength.
たまにしか来られない場所だから、私はここが好きなんだと思う。
Shion quietly whispered, "You think so?" I mean, like I said, I've been saying it is either Eden or Eden. I've been just going both ways. I don't know what's a proper way to say it. I guess Eden does sound pretty good. I don't know. I guess I'm saying Eden because it's Eden of the East. Or is it Eden of the East? See, Eden of the East, Eden of the East. I don't know how to say the word Eden. I should probably look that up on Google Translate, not gonna lie. But it seems like we're pretty much just back to the usual stuff. Just going on walks, farming, you know, doing all the usual stuff. She doesn't seem to be back in good health after being sick. Her words didn't seem as though they were directed to anyone in particular.
綺麗な場所だね。
Isn't that the girl who sleeps with her brother?
今頃気づくな。
Who? Maya and I were walking a short distance from Shion. We didn't want to get in her way as she enjoyed the scenery.
シオンと春菜くんの聖域ってわけか。
その聖域に土足で踏み込んできたのがお前だ。
リョウ？
He's still talking shit. He's still talking shit. Shion does nothing like it at all though. She shot me a mild, muffled scowl.
いじめてはダメって言ってるのに、もしかして楽しんでるの？
From a weird
まさか。
huh?
甘い顔を見せるとつけ上がるタイプだ。
I haven't played very many visual novels, so I'm not entirely sure. When you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was Yosuga no Sora. I think that's how you pronounce it.
それはリョウの言う通りだと思うけど、お二人とも 本気で私のこと迷惑がってるでしょ。
I mean, you're technically not supposed to be here. In contrast to Maya, who was quite down, Shion seemed like she was having fun. Was she in a good mood because her condition had improved? Oh, that's a new angle. Yo, Kimi no Nawa! Shion held her hand out of the wind.
いい風。羽があったら飛べそう。
Her tender whisper melted into the breeze. It almost seemed like her entire being might wisp away along with it. Her long hair fluttered in the breeze, revealing just how tiny her figure really was. She looked as if she were an inhabitant of a dream.
本当に綺麗。
Shion, huh? Maya gazed at Shion. She stood perfectly still, almost like she'd even forgotten to breathe. Suddenly, I had a thought. Could Maya truly have just wanted to meet Shion? Did she appear before us only desiring to hear her story? I mean, anyone would be able to guess that. That was what I felt when I saw the dreamy look in Maya's eyes. Bro, what? Hey, link it to me. Wait, what? What did you find out? It still wasn't enough of a bias to trust her,
Maya?
but... Shion spoke in a curious tone, still looking up at the sky.
はい。あなたが知っていることをすべて教えて。その後はマヤの質問にいくらでも付き合うから。りょうもそれでいい？
ああ、君が望むようにしてくれ。
Shion smiled sweetly and combed through her hair with her fingers. For some reason, my heart began to race at the sight. Oh, okay, you thought about, okay, Yosuga no Sora. Okay. That's what you meant? Yeah, that's literally the first thing that popped in my mind when you're like, what, that girl that fucked her brother? Who? There's only one anime that I know about that. To think that was my very first, that was not only was that my very first incest anime, but also part of my very first anime that featured an actual sex scene in it. So that shit's stuck in my head. That shit's gonna be stuck in my head. 10 years still in my head, I think. Oh man, that scene's just actually burnt into my brain. A large bird was gliding through the sky, chirping loud and clear. I was sitting on the ground, staring idly at that bird's movements. Yo, what up, Daigudo? The messages are so delayed, are they? Or am I just being late to read? I know I'm kind of late to read at times. Shion was seated right beside me, so close our bodies were nearly touching. She stared at Maya, looking deeply intrigued. Maya remained seated in front of Shion and didn't speak. She seemed to be having trouble deciding where to start.
なんでもいいだろう。シオンなら話が多少前後したって理解してくれる。
そうだけど、なんか改めてシオンと話すんだと思うと緊張してきちゃったよ。
Maya looked rattled, and her smile turned stiff. Shion was staring straight at Maya, saying nothing all the same.
とりあえず準備を。
Alright, we're about to hear Maya's story. She hastily retrieved the small notebook.
よし。
She got glasses on! Hold up! She put on glasses and nodded to
なんだ
herself.
お前、目が悪いのか？
少しだけね。普段はメガネなしでも普通に生活できるんだけど、仕事の時だけかけるの。
Yo! Glasses girl with big tits? Okay, we can go. And twin tails at that, dude. Maya quality, Maya said as she opened her notebook.
ちょっとは賢そうに見えるな。
ちょっとはってなんだよ。
Maya sulked as she shifted her attention to Shion. Maya's expression quickly turned serious.
何？
Shion inclined her head slightly.
シオンが綺麗なのは映像で知ってたけど、こんな近くで見ると。
Maya blushed for some reason.
何を今さら。昨日から何度も見てるだろう。
メガネかけて見るのは初めてだし、落ち着いて向き合うのもこれが初めてだもん。昨日は散々脅かされてビクビクしてたんだもん。 思ってるんだよ。だいたい春菜くんは。マヤ、慌てなくていい。そうだね。まずは。
Incidentally, I told Shion what I had heard about Lavie from Maya while we climbed the hill.
数ヶ月前から秘密裏に行われていた軍によるシオンの捜索はすでに打ち切られてるよ。
Oh, really?
いきなり確信。
Shion remembered in amusement, not looking the least bit interested, surprised.
なんか全然びっくりしてないね。
Well, I mean, if the military... Well, yeah, that makes sense, though. If the military was still after us, they'd get here before Maya. So the fact that Maya got here before us kind of says otherwise.
可能性の一つとしては考えてたから。りょうもそうでしょ？
考えないでもなかったが、可能性は低いと思っていたからほとんど考慮していなかった。
私は死んだことになってるの？そうだけど。
Maya pulled up patches of grass from the ground, unable to hide her bewilderment.
驚くような話をしてるのは私の方なのに。
You're talking to like the world's smartest person.
予想のできない事態なんてめったにない。星の終わりさえ人類は予言できたんだもの。
公式発表があったのか？
うん。脱出計画の実行委員会から発表があって。
Starting from there, Maya began to recount a whole series of events in detail. Shion's death was officially announced approximately 1 month after we fled the research facility. The cause of death, an accident in the middle of a test. Most people couldn't contain their sorrow for the sudden passing of the Earth evacuation project's driving force, but it did not impede the project itself. In fact, it seemed on sight morale went up as they headed into the final phase, with members saying they would make the project a success, to carry on the dying wish of their leader.
それにしても、私が実験中の事故なんかで死ぬわけないのに。避けようがない事故ってあるんじゃないの？私が直接指揮を取っていればありえない。
Earth.
まあでも世間の人々はそれで納得してるみたい。疑いの声も上がってるけど少数だね。
シオンが死んだことにされているのは分かったが、そもそもなぜ軍は捜索を打ち切った？何言ってんの？
Maya looked astounded and shrugged her shoulders. Even Shion's eyes looked mystified, and she stared up at me like, bruh.
春菜くんたちが完璧に行方をくらましたからでしょ？
つまり軍は結局俺たちをロストしたままなのか？
ラビー少尉によるとね、研究所では通信を含めた全システムが落ちてたせいで外部への救援要請も遅れに遅れたらしいし、システムを落としたのもシオンがやったんだって。元になったプログラムを書いたのは別の人。私は用意されていたものを走らせただけ。
Was that Elika's doing? Shion sent a fleeting glance my way. Yes, the program that rendered the facility's security inoperable and single-handedly gave Shion her freedom was something my sister had prepared. Oh, the bomb. Okay, they're talking about the bomb. My sister protected me. Protected us.
春菜くん？どうかしたの？
いや、なんでもない。それにしたって軍は随分あっさり諦めたんだな。
That is true.
私もそこはちょっと疑問なんだけどね。でも納得できないこともない。時間がないから。
What a Baz. Baz coming in with the hard only John.
そうか。
Fucking Baz. What's good, Baz? I looked up at the sky. Though it was daytime, the stars above us was shining a sinister red. The fate of the world became clear when that red star
も
appeared.
うすぐこの世界は終わる。脱出の最終フェーズを急がないといけないの。
地上に残っている部隊は残り少ないし、シオンの捜索に多くの人員を割けないってことか。
それともう一つ、政府や軍の人、それに脱出計画のメンバーもようやく気づいたんだと思うの。
A faint breeze blew against all the greenery around us. Okay, but Baz, this game is actually a lot more safe for work than what you're thinking. Okay, so don't go there. This game's actually nothing weird. Let's just say weird has happened yet. Okay, though I won't say that it's not included. It's not one of those games. Like, it's not one of those games. The evacuation project could fit. Okay, why am I reading her lines?
私なんて必要ないこと。必要ないなんて、そんな。シオンがいたから人類は救われる。誰でも知ってることだよ。とっくに私の出番は終わってた。袖に引っ込んで幕が降りるのを待ってただけ。もう幕は降りてたの。
And before head pat intensifies.
そんなこと。
Maya looked downward and shook her head repeatedly. Since she came here to collect information on Shion, I was sure she had a vested interest and respected her, but...
シオン。
Maya suddenly lifted her head and approached Shion. They were the same eyes she had when she chided me sharply at the lakeside.
私はカーテンコールをしに来たんだよ。取材だっけ？何を聞きたいの？あなたのことを。できるだけ多くあなたのことを知りたい。なぜ？多分シオンのことが好きなんだと思う。それ面白い。
For some reason, Shion's gaze was filled with anticipation. Chided. Oh, chided, okay. Could it be she had been seeking someone's approval? Wanting to interview her because she liked her was something I both could and couldn't really understand.
だから取材させてほしい。シオンのことを教えてほしい。だったらしばらくここにいればいい。
Oh, well, Shion invited us. Alright, Ryou, you better accept this now. You got another waifu now.
ここで生活している私を見れば何かわかるかもしれない。
Hippity hoppity, you're now our property.
わからなくても責任は取らないけど。いいよ。とことん食らいつくのが私の仕事だもん。いい？
There's not. Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. This is a thing? Yo, we're 9 playthroughs in, and I barely just figured out that I could do that. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. This time it was Maya's voice that was filled with
好き
anticipation.
にしろ。
Do as your wish. There's nothing you can say anymore, Ryou. It's not like I could gather intel that would collaborate with her testimony, and leaving to confirm any of it would be difficult. It would be essential for me to be on a heightened alert, but I couldn't complain any further as Shion had accepted her. I wanted Shion to be able to do as she pleased. I said to a certain someone who recited deep within my heart, "This is for the best." Alright, well, that was a good scene. What do you got? You guys are talking about Maya's hair? I mean, I gotta love them twin tails, though, guys. Gotta love them twin tails and hot pants, that's for sure. She's not that thick, though, not gonna lie, but still. Twin tails and glasses. Can't go wrong with that. Though she has the kind of generic style with the ribbons. It's whatever, though. It's whatever, though, man. The next morning, when I entered the washroom, it was already occupied.
うわ！
何を大げさに驚いてるんだ。
いや、全然足音しなかったもん。
Maya was blushing, slightly embarrassed by how surprised she had gotten.
というか、ノックぐらいしようよ。もしお風呂上がりだったらどうすんの？
She said hastily as she blushed an even deeper red, looking like she'd remembered something.
俺もシオンも朝っぱらから風呂に入る習慣はないからな。
Wait, what? I made a face? What face did I make?
なんかさ、ここに来てから私驚きっぱなし。
I don't pay attention to what faces I
退
make.
屈しなくていいだろ。そこ使っていいか？
I asked, pointing a finger at the wash basin.
ああ、うん、どうぞ。
Maya quickly moves aside, and I turn to the faucet over the wash basin. I wash my face with water so cold it can crack the skin on your hands. The last of my mild drowsiness was fading away. I took the towel Maya held out for me and wiped down my
お前
face.
意外と朝早いんだな。
意外とって失敬な。
She puffed out her cheeks. She is cute. Maya is a cutie.
見るからにだらしなさそうじゃないか。
実は興奮しててなかなか眠れなかったんだよね。そのまま朝になっちゃったんで起きてきたんだよ。
お前ずいぶん遅くまでシオンと話し込んでたが、あまり無理をさせるなよ。
なんたって念願だったシオンへの単独インタビューだもん。つい時間を忘れちゃったんだよ。ごめん。
Although she seemed apologetic, tinges of excitement were interweaved in her
俺に
reply.
謝らなくてもいいがな。
Maya had taken my place and listened to the continuation of her. Wait, what the fuck is that word? Charade? Is that how you spell charade? Charade? Bedtime story. I don't care anymore. I was sitting in, of course, but since the majority had to do with Shion's work, it went in one ear and out the
ところ
other.
で、お前はいつまでここにいるんだ？
本当はずっといたいんだけどね。
Maya looked uncomfortable and cast her eyes away from me.
私ね、最後の船に乗ることになってるの。最後の船の出港を取材するから。
人類がこの星からいなくなる日の取材か。いい仕事だな。
The long-running Earth evacuation project was finally coming to a finale. Covering the final ship would surely garnish a much greater degree of attention for her from the world at large.
最終便の記者枠を取るのは大変だったけどね。
Maya shrugged slightly.
でもね、最後の船の出港までもうあまり時間はないの。ここから港まで遠いし、早めに出ないとね。
そうか。
ねえ、春菜くん。
なんだ？
Maya took a step towards me without warning and leaned in close. A sweet aroma hung lightly in the air. Lightly the scent of her shampoo or something similar.
ね、私は最後の船に乗るんだよ。
繰り返さなくても分かってる。
けど、春菜くんやシオンは。
Okay, you're finally understanding.
言うな。
I lightly grabbed Maya by the shoulder and edged her away. She had no intention of leaving my side.
でも
何もかも分かった上でのことだ。ここでの生活はな。
それでいいの？
シオンのことは分からない。が、ただ奪うだけだった俺の人生に、ようやく見えた光なんだ。もう、その光を追いかけることしか考えられないんだよ。
I couldn't really say I had found where I truly belonged. My sister, Elika, and Shion. I didn't want to lose the place I'd finally reached thanks to those girls being there for me and leading the way. Maya pointed an accusatory gaze at me. She'd be better off ignoring me and just worrying about Shion.
今気づいたんだが、
はい？
お前、ちょっと顔大きくないか？
Bruh.
何を？
Bruh. Maya's eyes went wide and she turned to the bathroom mirror.
顔が嘘でしょ？
She patted her own cheeks and grumbled under her breath in an unsettled tone.
そんなバカなって、そうだよ。
Maya glared at me with a glint in her eyes.
それは根本的に間違ってるよ。春菜くんはずっとシオの小さなお顔を見てきたから錯覚しちゃってるんだよ。シオンとは体の大きさが違うんだから、比べたらそりゃ私の方が顔だって大きく見えるに決まってるじゃん。でもね、これだけは言っておくからね。
Alright.
そんなに必死になることか？
Upon closer inspection, tears were brimming in Maya's eyes.
私だって結構な小顔美人なんだよ。なめるなよ。
Christ, she took that to heart. Maya declared passionately and went flying from the washroom. What a rambunctious woman. First thing in the morning, too. Oh well, she wouldn't be here forever. Some hustle and bustle might be nice on occasion. Although it had just sort of happened on its own, I realized that I was treating Maya like a normal person. This came as a bit of shock, and also, I found myself believing it wasn't so bad this way. Hey, nice. Haruna's actually starting to like Maya a bit. Like, at least accept her. He was treating her like such an ass. I kind of started feeling bad for Maya, not gonna lie. But that's good development. The lake shore with a dazzling brilliance as the gentle sunlight shined down upon it. I'm reading very terribly today. I apologize to all of you guys that have to bear with this because I'm probably hurting a lot of your guys' ears. Around noon, I was sitting along the shore, leisurely dangling out a fishing
まだ
line.
釣れない？
焦ったって釣れるものじゃないからな。
そう。
Shion sat beside me, gazing idly out at the lake. She looked a bit sleepy. I assumed it was due to her keeping Maya company late into the
退屈な
night.
ら家に戻っていてもいいぞ。
戻るのも面倒。
ならここにいるしかないな。
マヤは一人で大丈夫なの？
A question out of left field suddenly flew at
特
me.
に問題ないだろう。堆肥と石灰をまいて耕すだけだ。
She should be covered in dirt by now, and likely having a frantic scuffle with
それっ
soil.
てすごい重労働。
Damn, he put her to work.
今度はフィジカルないじめを？
押しかけにただ飯食わせるほどお人よしじゃないんだ、俺は。
Put her to work.
それにあいつ、うちの畑のトマトを勝手に食ったからな。その罰も兼ねての労働だ。
寮の愛情は歪んでる。
そもそも愛情なんかではない。
I could faintly hear the sound of water. I quickly looked at the lake, but there wasn't any particular change in the
やっ
float.
ぱり釣れない。
うちの飯は野菜ばかりでタンパク質が不足してるからな。野ウサギでも捕まえるか、それともまた鶏を潰すか。
マヤは元気。
は？
ほとんど人がいなくなった世界を女の子一人で旅してここまでたどり着いた。それでも疲れも見せないし、今も畑を耕してる。
ま、エネルギーが溢れてることは間違いない。
I answered, as I pulled lightly on the fishing pole.
私にはできない。研究所からの旅も寮に手を引いてもらわなかったら多分途中で死んでた。
マヤには体力があるが、君にはその頭脳があるだろう。
そういうことじゃない。もっと根本的な生命力の問題。
Oh, there he is.
私がマヤのように
What up, Metal?
生命力にあふれていたのはもう何十年前かな。
シオン。
I could see the grief in her eyes. Her pure, untanned skin was paler than
これ
usual.
が羨ましいって感情？こんな感情今までずっと知らなかった。
知らないよりは知っている方がいい。人間なら当たり前の感情だ。
That's rough. Is that the guy that you were chilling in a Discord with? Were you like helping him?
りょうも
Were you
誰
like
かを
helping
羨ま
him
しいと
like
思った
level
こ
his
とあ
stuff
る？
up?
どうかな。
Jesus Christ. I looked at the float, responsiveless as ever. I guess it might be time to call it
笑っている
quits.
人たちを見ると少し胸に痛みを覚えることがあった。なぜこんなに楽しそうに笑えるのかと。
りょうのお姉さんやエリカの笑顔？
He had the traveler's set. I
それ
nodded.
に君の笑顔も。
I don't even know what these two are talking about anymore. That's a.
ここに来てから君は時々
Does he not
本
know?
当に楽しそうに笑ってる。
Ah.
だけど俺は多分君のように笑えない。
He has a venti? Hold on. He has a venti. That means he's been playing this game since launch. Or at least sort of on since launch. AR-33.
りょうは多分強すぎるの。だからりょうには引いてる。
The float was bobbing up and down where she pointed. You live like this? No, please help the man. Help the poor man out. Oh my god, he is missing out. A combination of good timing and precise tugs on the rod and...
魚見えた。
よし。
I pulled back on the pole the second I could see the fish on the water surface. The moment I felt it pull against me with considerable force, I tightened my grip and pulled yet again.
すごい。
Damn, that's a big fish. Shion gave me a round of applause, then held out a nearby pail for me. I quickly took the fish off the line and tossed it in. Just as Shion had said, it was quite the catch.
りょうすごい。大物が引っかかったのなんて偶然だけど、すごい。
まあな。
It sounded like she was trying to give me a compliment.
美味しそう。
その感想もどうかと思うぞ。
次は私にやらせて。
That guy was not gonna survive AR-40.
あ、餌をつけ直すから待ってろ。
I quickly put bait on the hook and handed Shion the
やり
pole.
方は前に教えた通りだ。慌てずにな。
一度教われば私忘れないから。
Shion said without a lick of cuteness and took a step towards the lake. When suddenly... Yo! Her body quivered tremendously as though she had been hit by lightning. Her delicate body bent backwards like a bow and a pole fell from her outstretched hands. I rushed to catch her and looked down at her face. Shion was gazing off the waterway with a dazed expression.
君は
Oh
なん
fuck.
でもないの。
She got a whiff of that old age getting to her. She fixed her posture and lightly pushed against my shoulder. She probably wanted to say she could stand by herself,
本当に
but
大丈夫なのか。
ちょっとめまいがしただけ。
今日はもう引き上げるか。
でも魚一匹だけ。
これだけ大きければ二人で分けても量は十分だ。
誰と誰で分けるの？
居候は自主的に遠慮するだろ。
やっぱりいじめ。
a small smile appeared on Shion's face. It was a gentle smile that for some reason made me think of that maid. Her smile shot through my chest as if needles had pierced my heart, and yet I wanted her to smile even more. I may not be able to smile, but I believed it would be enough if Shion could. Alright, so Shion's dying. Let's go. Day turned to night and Shion got in bed while it was still early. Keeping her bout of dizziness in mind, I suggested she get right to sleep. After I made sure Shion was asleep, I did a quick check around the perimeter, then retired to my room. The period between now and when I slept made up with what little free time I had in a day. With that being said, there wasn't much that I wanted to do. I realize now, a bit late in the game, that all I've done these past several years was go to war. Man, these years been trash. All I did all my life was kill people, dude. What a bland life that is. The very instant I whispered that, I reached for the handgun I had thrown onto my bed. Gripping the pistol firmly in my hand, I concealed my footsteps and clung to the door. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3! I swung open the door and pointed my gun at the person who appeared on the other side. Why did this kill? I covered her screaming mouth and pressed her against the wall.
何をしてるんだ?
It's just Maya, dude! It's just fucking Maya out of nowhere. It's like, man, all I do is kill people. Oh shit, gotta kill someone!
手を離すが、騒ぐなよ。
There, yeah, she has glasses metal. Maya nodded quickly. Maya took a deep breath once she was released.
何すんのよ、いきなり。
それはこっちのセリフだ。足音を殺して人の部屋に近づくな。
言っとくけど、両倍とかじゃないからね。
Her cheeks dyed red as she blurted out that outrageous comment. Not that I had misinterpreted in any way.
まだ4倍の方がマシだな。何のつもりだ？
シオンが寝てるときは静かにしろって言ったのは春菜くんじゃん。だから気を使ったんだよ。
紛らわしい。
Let me just ignore metal. Alright.
どうしろっつーのよ。
普通にしてろ。
I holstered my gun and took a step away from Maya. From what I've observed from Maya thus far, I have determined her combat capabilities to be virtually worthless. As long as she didn't try to surprise me, there was no need to be on alert.
なんだ？仕事してたのか？
I pointed at the glasses she was wearing.
ああ。外すの忘れてた。まあいっか。
She gently touched the frame and stared intently at me.
ねえ、春菜くん。ちょっと思いついたことがあるんだよ。
Why is Maya literally glowing?
なんだ？
実はね、シオンへのインタビューだけじゃなくて、実は春菜くんのコメントも欲しいなって思ってるんだよ。
断る。
早っ。
だいたいお前はシオンにインタビューしてどうする気だ？彼女は死んだことになってるんだろう。
事故以前に取材したことにするよ。記事を発表するタイミングもきちんと考えるから心配いらない。
お前、軍や政府に目をつけられるかもしれないぞ。
She tilted her head, seeming bothered.
まあ、狼が怖くて報道は務まらないからね。
Maya said smugly and pointed outside.
そんなことより、ちょっと夜の散歩に付き合ってくれない？
Oh, well, okay, I guess. Improvement. A bright blue moon amidst a brilliant sea of stars hung over us. Maya and I walked through the night, serenaded by the chirping of insects and the faint whispers of the wind.
気持ちのいい夜だね。
余計なことはいいから、さっさと要件を言え。
情緒ってものがわからないよね、春菜くんは。
She glanced and rolled her eyes at me.
あいにく、軍隊育ちで殺伐としてるもんでな。情よりも実が優先だ。
春菜くんは軍人の中でも特別な部類だと思うけどね。まあいいや。それじゃあ本題に入ろっか。
Maya pulled out and opened a notebook from her pocket. I'd already returned all of her luggage, save for her weapons and electronics.
文字が見えない。
月が出てても、この暗闇じゃ文字を見るのは無理だ。何がしたいんだ？
一応、シオンへのインタビューの内容をささっとまとめたメモなんだけどね。もうすごい量になってるんだよ。
I peered at her hand. She may not have been able to see, but my night vision was fairly sharp. I could read what was written in some extent. Shion's notes regarding research, bullet points on the development of the Earth evacuation project, and other commentary was on the page. Despite appearance, it seems she really was a reporter.
シオンはさすがに頭いいよね。インタビューなんて文字にしてみると支離滅裂なことが多いんだけど、シオンの場合は録音データを文字に起こすだけで記事になりそう。
記者にとっては助かる相手だな。
普段は短く区切って話すのに、インタビューだと長々と喋るしね。
一般人が理解できるレベルで話してくれてるんだろう。
意外に親切なんだよね。天才科学者なんてとっつきにくそうなイメージだけど。
彼女を教育した人間が良かったんだ。
The image of that girl in her maid uniform came to mind. It's nice that we get a shot of Elika every so often. Always need to be reminded of the actual best girl, of the goddess of the series, the goddess of visual novels, the goddess of all goddesses of goddesses. Even now, I could picture her vividly as if looking at a photograph.
そうか、エリカさんか。
Yes.
彼女の名前もラビーから聞いたのか？
そうとも言えるし、そうじゃないとも言える。
はっきりしろ。
やっぱり話しておいた方がいいかな。やっぱりその方がいいか。
何の話だ？
春菜くん、話しておきたいことがあるの。
I am Lavie. Maya looked at me sternly, her expression serious yet
俺にコメ
innocent.
ントをもらいたいんじゃないのか？
それはまた後で。もしかしたらこの話を聞いたら春菜くんは口を多分春菜くんには辛い話になると思う。
Her tone wasn't threatening. She sounded genuinely worried
構わ
for
ない。
me.
話せ。
However, there was no point trying to ignore reality.
そっか、春菜くんならそう言うと思ったよ。話さなきゃいけないんだよね。
Alright. Let's hear this. Here. Maya stopped in place of her expression grew grim. Her face wore the epitome of seriousness, but her face looked reluctant, as though she felt guilty about
エリ
something.
カさん、ラビー少尉、それに稲葉少佐のことを。
We had walked all the way to the lake. Maya removed her glasses and seemed to be deep in thought.
これ以上山荘から離れたくない。そろそろ話してくれ。
わかった。
She nodded, her expression still tense. My guess was that it was something I was better off not knowing, or perhaps it was something I had to hear alone.
私がずっと前からシオンにアプローチしていたっていうのは話したよね。
それは聞いた。
私がジャーナリストになったのは2年前。もちろんほとんどの記者が地球脱出計画に関する取材で奔走してた。今もそう。なんといっても人類始まって以来の壮大なイベントだからね。
2年前か。お前まだ学校行ってる年齢だろ。
学校はやめたんだよ。世界のことを知りたくなったから。教科書に載ってる話だけじゃ。
I mean, the world's kinda ending. Do you have time for college when the world's kinda ending? I'm sorry.
人から教えられるんじゃなくて、自分の目と耳で見て聞いて確かめたかったんだよ。 この世界にある真実のかけらでもいいから掴みたかったってところかな。
She smiled a bit and scratched her cheek slightly.
家を飛び出して親戚のおじさんがベテランの記者だったから弟子入りしたの。
むちゃくちゃだな。
That went for Lavie and me as well, since we falsified our ages to enter the military, but that didn't make this woman any less crazy. Of course, she probably had her reasons for diving into the world of journalism at an age where you'd normally want to play around and have fun.
それで世界中を飛び回っている間にシオンに行き着いたの。彼女がいなかったら今の世界はどうなってただろうって。宇宙へ飛び立つ船のエンジンの開発者、脱出計画の実質的なリーダー。得意なんてものじゃない。彼女のことを調べれば調べるほど本人に直接会いたい衝動を抑えられなくなった。でも彼女の存在はよく知られていても実態はほとんど謎のベールに包まれてたんだよね。おじさんの協力も得てなんとか第703研究所にシオンがいるということだけは突き止めた。でも公式には存在しないことになってる研究所だし全然連絡も取れなくて。
そういえば。
Yep. I remember the scene. I do remember the scene. I had a feeling the Major had once mentioned a rather persistent journalist to me. I didn't remember the name, but it must have been her.
どうかしたの？
I do remember that comment.
なんでもない。続けてくれ。
困ってたところに一通のメールが届いたの。
メール？
何度かやり取りしたんだけど内容をかいつまんで言えばシオンの情報は与える。その代わりに協力してほしいことがあるって。そんな感じだね。
シオンの情報だと。
There were few who knew anything about Shion when she was in the research facility. The military brass, government VIPs, and staff and soldiers affiliated with the facility. That was about it. If there was anyone who would be willing to deal with someone on the outside, it would have to be...
差出人の名前を知ったのはごく最近。
Was that
その
Elika?
人の名前は
That had to be Elika then.
エリカか。
She nodded slightly and looked at the reflection of the moon on the water surface.
エリカさんはとにかく慎重で正体は見当もつかなかったしメールがどこから送られてきてるのかも私には突き止められなかった。
Elika. It was Elika.
彼女もフェリックスだ。
And they were trying to,
頭の出来は波じゃない。
arrest her too because of it.
私なんかに尻尾をつかませるわけないか。
I had also heard about Elika getting in contact with someone on the outside from Shion. Elika may have been trying to make use of a civilian's network to set Shion free. Still, I guess even if Felix like Elika couldn't deceive the military all on her own. Surely, being discovered was likely the cue for her to expedite her plan to escape from the facility.
まあそういうわけで私は第703研究所の動向には注意してたの。エリカさんを通していくつか情報も得られてたしね。
それでシオンの脱走騒ぎが起こった。
とんでもないことではあるけど私にはチャンスだったよ。シオンが外に出てくれば接触するチャンスも生まれるもん。おじさんは船への乗船順が回ってきちゃって宇宙に上がったけど私は一人で調査を進めることにした。直接調査を始めたところでシオンの追跡部隊の小隊長ラビニア少尉と出会ったの。
よりによってあいつと接触するとはな。怖いだろラビーは。
え？全然そんなことなかったけど。
Maya's eyes opened up a little wider.
すっごい美人だったけど冷たい感じもしなかったし私とそう年も変わらないはずだけど落ち着いてたな。
I see, Maya. So you haven't met Lavie. Got it. You met Lavie, but you didn't really meet Lavie. I see. I see.
俺が知ってるラビーと別人なんじゃないのか。
To be fair, it might be hard for someone thick-headed to realize just how terrifying Lavie was, but level-headed? You met her. But level-headed? Lavie? Level-headed? You sure? You sure about that? I'm not sure. She wasn't anywhere near Maya's level, but she had always been quite the spirited individual.
間違いないってば。春菜くんのこともよく知ってたしね。
You sure? Something may have changed inside Lavie after that scuffle. But for me, even after leaving the facility and undergoing a major change in environment, I was the same man I always was.
けどね、第一印象はともかく、ラビー少尉と話して、ちょっと寂しそうな人だと思ったよ。
あいつはそんなに弱くはないさ。
春菜くんが知ってるラビー少尉は、春菜くんがいなくなる前のラビー少尉でしょ。
当たり前だろ。
ラビー少尉は言わなかったし、死んでも口に出さないだろうけど、春菜くんのこと気に入ってたんじゃないかな。だから寂しいんだよ、きっと。
まさか。
No, Ryou, no, Ryou. Lavie looked up to you. You were the person that she inspired to be like. Don't be this way, Ryou. Lavie and I hadn't been paired up for that long. Not to mention, we'd cross blades with each other. Ryou!
ラビーにとって俺はただの裏切り者だ。いなくなったところで。
No! You misunderstand, Ryou.
今のラビーさんには自分の舞台がある。だけど、本当に心を許せる相手はいないんだと思う。
そのうち部下とも打ち解けるだろう。それに稲葉少佐だっている。
No, Ryou, do you not remember Lavie's story about how she met you on the battlefield?
そうだ。稲葉少佐は今何をしてるんだ？
What is Inaba doing?
稲葉直人少佐のことだよね。
Did he suicide?
ああ、研究所のことを知っているなら少佐のことも知ってるよな。
知ってるよ。結局一度も会えなかったけどね。
Maya abruptly became evasive. There was such a malice hanging over her face that I could see it plain as day, even in the
少
darkness.
佐は
亡くなったよ。
Yeah, I see. I see.
死んだ。あの少佐が。
I see. Damn.
なぜ？
I grabbed and shook her by the shoulders. It was neither shock nor sadness which swirled violently through me. It was something closer to wrath.
春菜くんにだって分かってるでしょ。シオンを逃がした責任を取らされたんだよ。
He knew it was coming. I slowly took my hand off her shoulders.
夏目を守ることもできなかったやつが偉そうな口を聞くな。そうだ、俺が今日まで生きてきたのは
Yeah.
夏目に許してもらいたかったからだ。あなたを守ることを自分の償いの一つとしていただけです。俺自身の絶望をごまかす手段だったのです。
Yeah.
まだ7年前のことを覚えているか？
少佐が。
He took the blame, dude.
もちろんシオンは事故死ってことになってるから、公式には別の理由で軍法会議にかけられたんだよ。
別の理由？
部下への私的制裁。研究所で何人もの兵士が行方不明になってて、それは少佐が個人的な理由で殺害したってみなされたみたい。
Damn, they straight up put him as the main blame to everything. Wow.
そういうことか。
Wow. It was true. The Major had purged his own subordinates behind the scenes. However, the people he erased were all outsiders who had infiltrated to snoop on Shion's activities. It was a fundamental function of his duty to protect her. Although the Major personally strove to protect Shion, I didn't doubt the purges were ordered by his superiors.
死刑判決が下って即刻執行されたって。
死んだ。
I whispered to myself and closed my eyes. A death sentence announced with a banging of a hammer in a gloomy courtroom. A lone man being taken away in handcuffs to the courtyard of a military penitentiary, fastened to the stake and blindfolded. The firing squad aims their rifle at the man's head. Then they slowly pull the trigger.
そうか。死んだのか。
Rest in peace, Inaba. I opened my eyes and drove away the macabre image that popped into my head. My heart had already calmed down.
すまなかったな。
Inaba was a G too. He was a real G dude. Maya, who had hung her head apologetically, was surprised by suddenly being on the receiving end of an
俺に
apology.
伝えるかどうか悩んだんだろう。お前とは何の関係もないことなのにな。
私は別にただ伝えるだけだから。でも春菜くんにとっては稲葉少佐さんは。
真実ってやつは時々痛いものだ。伝える側も伝えられる側もな。
私ね、一つだけ嘘をついた。
なんだ。
ラビー少尉がここのことを知っていた理由。
Maya said apologetically before slowly taking a deep breath.
本当は少尉に口止めされてたんだけど、でもやっぱり言っておくべきだと思うの。
お前の判断を信じればいいさ。
Maya's twin ponytail swayed slightly as she firmly nodded her
それに
head.
俺も聞きたい。ラビーが何を思っていたかを。
After another nod, Maya began to speak.
少尉はこの山のことを逮捕される前の稲葉少佐から聞いたんだって。もしかしたらシオンや春菜くんたちはここにいるんじゃないかって。だけどラビー少尉は春菜くんたちを追いかけるつもりはなかった。逃げたいのなら逃げればいいって。追いかけもしないけど手を貸すつもりもない。それがラビー少尉の決断だったの。
ラビーが。
Yep, now that sounds like Lavie. Now it all makes sense. It all makes sense. It all makes sense now. How Maya got here. No matter the reason, her decision ran counter to the military's orders. It was hard to believe Lavie would defy the military. Could the Major have told her about these mountains because he knew Lavie felt this way?
それでもやっぱり春菜くんたちのことが気になったんだろうね、ラビー少尉は。
それでラビーは自分の代わりに俺たちのことをマヤに確かめてもらおうと思ったのか。
優しい人なんだよ。ちょっと甘いくらいに。
優しいかはともかく。
It sounded like Lavie had indeed changed a little. Elika, the Major, Lavie. When all was said and done, Maya had been able to find us because of these three people.
なんだか妙な話だな。
え？そうかな？
気にするな。俺の個人的な感想だ。
Maya tilted her head a bit and quietly brought herself close to me.
ごめんね。
何を謝ってる？
私が来なければ春菜くんは困ることも苦しむこともなかった。 シオンも稲葉少佐のことだって私さえ来なければずっと知らないままでいられたかもしれない。
Maya drew even closer. Her slender frame was almost touching me.
真実を調べ伝えるのがお前の仕事だろ。だからこれでいいんだ。
It's the truth. Your actions have consequences. That's all it is. Ryou and Shion ran away from the facility. In turn, Inaba had to face the consequences of allowing them to escape. It only makes sense. Maya's eyes went wide with shock, and then a bashful smile appeared. Most likely. I couldn't really see in the dark, but I wonder if the mayor had said the same thing in the end. That this is the way it should be. I gently patted my cheeks. On the day my sister was taken away, and I was hit by the major. Why am I saying mayor? That was the day my life truly begun. I wonder, had the major been able to meet my sister once more?
ねえ、春菜くん。稲葉少佐のことだけど。
ああ、シオンには黙っていてくれ。
Yeah, Shion wouldn't like that either at all.
可能性としては考えているだろうが、このまま家庭の話にしておきたい。
I lifted my head and gazed at the small, twinkling stars. Once more, I made a vow to our dearly departed. I would defend Shion's freedom to the very end. And that I would live without regret.
それじゃ、そろそろ戻るか。
そうだね。あ、ところでコメントは？
断る。
うわ、非常だ。
Maya leaned against me in jest, and I shook her away. I'll see. I'm not sure yet. What would she want me to talk about in the first place?
じゃあ、別のお願いなら聞いてもらえる？
内容を先に言え。
これだけは私にはできないことなんだよ。
She said something I didn't really understand and rummaged through her pockets.
ラビー少尉から預かってきたものがあるの。
ラビーから？
Maya held out a box so tiny it could rest in the palm of her hands. I recalled having seen it when I checked her luggage, but if I remember correctly, this was...
これをどうするかは春菜くんに任せるね。
まさかこれは。
I took the box from her and slowly opened the lid. And inside... Is that gonna be a cliffhanger? That's gonna be a cliffhanger. Alright. Well, we got cliffhangers, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're already about an hour in. Do we keep going or do we stop there? What do you say? Do you guys want to end on a cliffhanger? God dang it. I mean, I think an hour is okay. A nice solid hour works for me. That works for me. I'll do that. I don't want to be on this for too long. So we'll just stop it here. I did not even know about that feature. That's so cool. Alright, well, that was Maya's story. I'm going to call this one Maya's Story. So that's going to be it, y'all. So that's going to be the end of today's playthrough of Eden plus Mosaic. In the end, there was only 2. Or Maya's Report. Maya's Report, Maya's Story, or I guess both. Okay, yeah, I guess Maya's Report probably does sound a little bit better for a title. I'll definitely be getting to editing this right away. And hopefully get it uploaded very soon, so that way we can get to the next playthrough. Hopefully, preferably on my next day off, which would be a couple days from now. So, I'm just gonna keep this nice, quick, short, and sweet. This is gonna be your boy KNHD here, logging out. I'll see every last one of you beautiful guys and gals later. Peace.